Welcome to this webinar, Architectural Benefits of Fire-Resistant Glass. Some first instruction before starting the webinar. The webinar will be recorded and shared to you via email. During the webinar, please turn off your microphone. At the end of the webinar, there will be a question and answer session. You can use the tool Q&A function to ask your question during the webinar. You have the tool Q&A function on the Teams live event to ask your question during the webinar. The question will be published to the Q&A session, and I will try to answer as much as I can to it. The most liked question will be posed first at this Q&A session. So, a quick view about the agenda. First, there will be a quick introduction of the Vetrotech Saint-Gobain company. Then we will jump to the architectural benefits of fire-resistant glass. Another part will be about fire resistance and classification. And then we will end to the Q&A session. Let's start now with the short movie of Vetrotech Saint-Gobain.
At Vetrotech, we believe that life safety comes first, that in all living places, people should be granted safety. Infallible safety. One cannot compromise when it comes to protecting lives and property. One cannot be anything less than rigorous. Full compliance is a must. That's why we are committed to making living places more secure, committed to ensuring occupants the peace of mind they deserve without sacrificing comfort, because no one should have to make the choice between life safety and well-being. We are entrepreneurs who strive to bring safety to any building project, pioneers in passive fire protection and high-security glazed solutions. Advocates for healthier, more sustainable construction for the well-being of each one of us and the future of all. Every day, we transform the near-infinite potential of glass into high-performing, multifunctional solutions. Solutions that demand no trade-off in function or aesthetic and discreetly blend into the surrounding architecture to provide occupants with imperceptible protection. That's why our customers can rely upon us. They trust us to act as partners in identifying and co-developing systems adapted to any application or risk scenario. We share this mission with them today and for the years to come. A mission we are proud of. We ensure that people and property are always protected from hazard, no matter what. Vetrotech, on the safe side.
All right, now some figures about Vetrotech Saint-Gobain International. Vetrotech was founded in 1980 to develop fire-resistant safety glass. We are dedicated to multifunctional fire and high-security glass solution. Our headquarters is in Switzerland. We are operating over 70 countries with over 100 employees. We are producing our glass over 7 production sites located in 3 continents. Here you have a global view of our sales area structure around the world. Most of them are located in Europe. You can see here some white dots. We have 1 location sales area in the US and also 1 in India. The one in India is dedicated to also other countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Vietnam, Singapore, and Australia, for instance. So wherever you are located in the world, there will be always an expert to reply to you for any of your requests about fire-resistant glass. Any details about our sales area structure can be found on our website, vetrotech.com. About myself now, let me introduce myself. So my name is Martin Vaux. I started my career in the fire building safety regulation. as the building control officer. I joined Vetrotech Saint-Gobain in 2002 as a technician for the French market in charge of fire development and the prescription with the architect and stakeholders. In 2021, I became the fire protection expert for Vetrotech Saint-Gobain in the international level. I have a vast knowledge in fire building regulation, fire standard norms, fire safety, fire certification, and I have also an expertise in fire safety engineering and project management. Let's jump now to the architectural benefits of fire-resistant glass. The aim of most of the architects is to create a building with a feeling of well-being, as most of the people spend much of the day in the building, either at work, at home, or at school, for example. The quality of the light in their surrounding has a considerable implication on their safety, health, and state of mind, even their efficiency. In the following bullet points, a few examples of the asset of natural daylight coming through the building. For instance, you have the productivity over 20%, the visibility you can see over through the building wherever you are, and also the electricity cost saving by having the natural daylight to reduce the amount of electricity that you spend during all the day. Based on the fire building regulation, each level of the building must have several compartmentations surrounded and protected by fire partition wall and fire doors to avoid the spread of fire. In the past, the fire partition were made mainly with concrete drywall and fire doors made of wood or steel with sometimes a small glass panel, as you can see here. Nowadays, with the improvement of fire-resistant glass performance and capability, we are now able to let the natural daylight get into this compartmentation without compromise on the fire safety. Here an example of what was done in the past and what we are now able to do. And you see here clearly the daylighting passing through from the facade to the other part of this fire-rated protection. Another benefit of fire-resistant glass is the visibility through it. You can easily see on the other side without opening the door. This ensures safety for all the users from both sides of the fire-rated door. In this case, in this school, for instance, there's a lot of children coming out and through this door. So with this full glass door, there is no problem to see who is coming or not from this part of the corridor. The fire-resistant glass become even imperceptible and provide unmatched aesthetic appeal. In this picture, as you can see, we don't even forget that there is a glazed door which is even fire protecting. We could just look through and see all these stocks of wine behind this glazed door and partition wall. In addition to the fire protection and natural daylight that can ensure the fire-rated glass, we are unable to answer to what the architect wishes related to the creativity, design, and perception. Here you have an example of film glass, color glass that we combine with fire-rated glass. Here there is a screen printing, put it on the fire-rated glass. And here there is some coating to prevent from the heat of the outside. We have a solution for all this market segment: commercial, education, healthcare, hospitality, lecture, public and transport. Natural daylight combined with fire-resistant glass is possible whatever the complexity of your project. Here you have some example of what kind of application we are able to put on the building side, allowing the natural daylight to get into it, together with the fire protection required. So here, for instance, you have a fire curtain wall, which prevent the spread of fire from one building to the other, and also allowing the daylight passing through inside the building. Another example of fire-rated door and glazed partition inside the building, and you see the natural daylight is passing through this from this area to the other area where there's less of opening to the outside. Here another example of a skylight preventing the spread of fire from this location to the outside and prevent the spread of fire to the neighbor's building surrounding. In pictures now, the fire rate application. Here in the skylight, you see the sun is passing through. The people are walking above this fire-rated glass without even knowing it is fire-rated glass. But at the end, the light is passing through. The natural daylight is passing through. Here on the back, the facade of the building outside, and the natural daylight is passing through this old glazed door with our budget solution on the side. Here, a full curtain wall application with the natural daylight inside the building. Here, another example of natural daylight coming from the facade in the back and from the roof on the top. And you see how the natural daylight is lighting all the building. In this corridor, the daylight is coming from above, from the roof, and going down to this hatchway to give natural daylight into these offices. How can we now choose the correct fire-resistant glass? This is related to the fire building regulation, of course, and the following criteria. You have the fire-resistant performance, which is E, EW, and EI, together with the fire-resistant duration from 30 minutes to 120 minutes, the type of application that you are going to use, so for a door, a partition wall, a curtain wall, for instance, the condition where you will use it for outside application as a facade, for instance, or inside application for partition or for a door, and any additional characteristics needed or wishes by the architect: sound reduction, design, U-value, thermal insulation for outside, for instance. Let's talk about fire resistance now and classification. So according to the EN standards, there is three kinds of classification. You have first the E class, which is integrity only. Then you have the EW class, which combines integrity together with the reduction of heat radiation. Then at the end, you have the last one, the EI class, which is the combination with integrity together with the thermal insulation. This classification performance, are combined with the fire performance duration. Here are some examples of possible combination. E30, integrity with 30-minute duration. E120, integrity with 120-minute duration. EW60, EI60, and EI120. So this classification will be related to the fire building regulation request in your countries. Now, in detail, the definition of each performance. For EI classification, it is the ability of an element to withstand fire exposure only from one side without the transmission of fire to the unexposed side as a result of the passage of flame or hot gases. For the EW classification, it is the ability of an element to withstand the fire exposure only on one side with the E criteria, and also to measure the heat radiation on the unexposed space, which shall be lower than 15 kilowatt per square meters. And now for EI classification, It is the ability of an element to withstand fire exposure only from one side with the E criteria classification, and also the measure of the heat transfer to the unexposed side with the limit of maximum 140 Celsius on the unexposed side. Now you will see a short movie of the reaction of the E30 glass and an EI30 glass, so you can see the meaning and the behavior of both classifications. These two fire tests are conducted according to the EN test method following the fire ISO curve 834, where we have about 840 Celsius at 30-minute duration. So let's start with the E30 glass. It is a 6 mil toughened safety glass which protects from the flame and the hot gases passing through. So here you can see the deflection of the glass during the fire test. All the heat is passing through. You can see inside the furnace, so you can imagine on the unexposed side how much can be the heat. And here at the end of this duration of 30 minutes, there is no flame passing through, not hot gases either, which went to the unexposed side. Let's jump to the EI30 fire test. It's an 16 mil laminate safety glass with some interlayer inside. So you have first the reaction and the behavior of the glass on the fire side, which detach from the interlayer, break down and fall into the furnace. And then during the whole test, the intermittent, which was transparent before the reaction, became white and now get totally opaque and generate a block of heat transfer during the whole duration of the test for 30 minutes. So at the opposite of the fire, on the unexposed side, everywhere here on the glass surface, there will be a temperature less than 140 Celsius. And now, if we have a look to the two pictures, you can easily recognize the main difference. Here, the glass will let the heat passing through, and here you see there is no heat transfer from the exposed side to the unexposed side. The visual barrier that we have here prevents also from any panic during the evacuation of the people in case of fire. The people will not be afraid of fire during the evacuation. So, a little view in our glass product range. For the integrity performance, we have two products. The first one, which is called Pyrosis, which is a toughened safety glass for the classification from E30 to E16. We have another product called Keralite, which is a vitro-ceramic glass for the performance from E20 to E180. This glass is dedicated to the US market and to the Middle East market, because this glass can withstand another criteria of performance, which is the Ostrom test at the end of the fire test. Then for EW glass product range, we have our glass so-called Contraflamme Light, which can perform until 120 minutes, so with the classification EW30 to the classification EW120. We have also our toughened coated safety glass called Vetrotech, which can perform and protect from the heat from 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And then our last main product called Contraflamme for EI performance with the classification from EI30 to EI120. And here you have the reaction step by step of our glass. When the fire appears, then the glass on the fire side exposure will detach, crack, break, and fall down to the furnace, and then our intermittent will react during the whole fire test to generate to generate a barrier to prevent from the heat transfer during the whole duration willing by the fire building regulation. Our glass is not only fire protection glass. Our glass have a lot of assets, many assets. We are able to produce glass, the big glass size from 2.3 meter to 4.6 meter in one piece. So you can imagine how big can be the glass. We have also the multifunctionality, such as the safety, which protect against hurt and falling down. We have the sustainability, because our glass are based on recycled glass, and also we reduce our footprinting. Our glass can also be combined with comfort. We can add blinds into our IGU product. We can also put coating on our glass to get a really low U value on our glass, and also prevent from the sound reduction and the thermal insulation. And especially for the architect, we have design glass, tinted glass, screen printing of our glass, and also film color, and also privacy that we can have on the building offices. All this together gives customized solution for whatever needs that you have in your project. So don't hesitate to contact us. We will find a solution and a customized product which will withstand to your requirements. We are not only producing and selling fire rating glass, we can also offer you services unable to guide you to the right and correct direction to the achievement of your project. We have a testing and certification department dedicated for that. The following project reference where you have we have helped the stakeholder to achieve the project. You will see some example of it. So the first one is Power Replace in the UK with our glass Contraflam Structure 30 and our glass Contraflam Vega 30 with big glass size. We achieved 4.4 meter high glass in this building. And as you can see, it's an unframed glazed partition. So only Vetrotech glass, no profile in between. The wishes from the customer and the architect here is to see everywhere outside, wherever you are in the building. So you can see outside and you see how much and how benefit the day lighting passing through the roof and the facade can bring natural daylight whatever location you are in this building. Another project, which is the stadium in the Netherlands, the wishes from the stakeholder was to have a complete view during the game for the VIP person which are in the lounge here, and also the combine of heat, sun heat passing through here. So we had to put a contraflam structure here again with an IGU glass and a coating unable to reduce the sun heat passing through. And when you are inside this lounge, the idea is that you can watch and see the full the game without any mullion in between the glass you have here. In this building office in Germany, the architect wanted that whenever you go into the building, you have an overview to the outside. So with these 3 elevators, together with these 2 stairs, wherever you are, you can go and see outside. And in case of fire, if the fire will come from this side of the building or this side of the building, during the evacuation, the 2 stairs will be protected with fire-rated glass in all this area to prevent the spread of fire and to allow the evacuation of people during the fire. In this school in Abu Dhabi, as you know, there is not a lot of window opening in this area in this kind of country. So here the idea and the wishes was to get as much as natural daylight in this place based on the natural daylight coming from this openable window throughout this fire-rated glazed partition wall with the glaze door. And as you can see, as it is a school, we have also the idea to prevent any hurt in such application as is in the school. In this university in Germany, the library, which is a huge part, there is a full glazed partition wall together with store, and the wishes of the architect was to put some well-known people on this glazed partition with the screen printing on it. And during the day, with the natural daylight from the curtain wall here, the facade outside, the whole library will be lighting by natural daylight. And in the last project in the Switzerland, the customer wanted again to have natural daylight coming from the roof, coming from the outside. And here you can see how benefits is the daylight passing through and how we can prevent from turning the light into the building during the whole day. Here you can see how there's a few light in the ceiling. So thank you for this webinar. Now I let my colleague Saskia for the Q&A session.
Hello everyone, this is Saskia Goldhahn from the marketing team from Vetrotech Saint-Gobain speaking. I'll be guiding you through the Q&A session. So Martin, we've received quite a lot of questions.
Wow.
So you're going to have your hands full. The first question we have is there colored fire-resistant glass?
There is no exactly color fire-rated glass. There is the possibility to get fire-rated glass with whatever color you want. The idea is that we combine fire-rated glass together with a PVB film, which get the color that you want, and we put it on the glass as a combination of a fire-rated glass together with the design that you want. So if you want a red glass with the fire performance, we can do it. If you want a yellow glass, we can do it. Although we will have the light transmissions into the building without any problem. It won't be an opaque glass. It will be a translucent glass with the color that you want to get into your building.
All right, so we're not using colored glass, but we're using foil to put in between the glass to merge with the glass.
Yeah, we are not talking about tinted glass at all.
All right, good. Then we have a question, do we have curved fire-resistant glass in our repertoire?
Yeah, we did develop a curved glass for EI performance exclusively. We have been doing a few projects already on that. The aim of this product is the curve that you need on your project, the performance that you need. It's something very special, and where we need to get in contact directly with the architect, the stakeholder, in order to find the right compromise with the production feasibility and what is able to be on the building site at the end. But we have done a few projects already with curved glass. Yeah. So come to us and we will try to find a solution to your request.
Nice. It's good to know that glass doesn't always have to be straight, but that you also kind of give it shapes and curves and everything. Yeah. So you showed us some really nice pictures of 2 fire tests of the E fire-resistant glass and the EI fire-resistant glass. We've received a question for this. So how do we test fire-resistant glass?
So the fire-resistant glass are not tested to give a classification of the glass itself. The the fire tests are done based on the fire test method. There's a test method for each kind of application that you need for your building site. So there's a test method, for instance, for a partition wall. There's a test method for a door. There's another test method for the curtain wall. So whatever application that you will need for your project, you have to make sure that you have tested all glass into the correct test method in order to put it on the site. So we do have in Vetrotech Saint-Gobain a lot of historical data, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of fire tests done with key system partner, unable to answer to all your wishes mainly. And whenever we don't have, or you have customized profile or customized design, we can sit together and bring out a solution, and even run a pre-test in our house, because we have our own fire test lab in order to find solution to whatever customized framing system you want to put on your building.
All right, so basically every fire-resistant glass needs to be tested within a system, and according to the application it's going to be used for, correct?
Yeah, correct. But whenever you have tested once and you have the solution already, you don't have to repeat the test, unless, for instance, you need to increase the glass size, unless you need to increase the door opening, unless you need to increase the height of the partition wall. But whenever you have tested already once the combination of the system together with the fire-rated glass for whatever classification, you don't have to repeat the test one more time.
All right, good. Then we have a question which came in while you were presenting the fabulous reference projects. So what is the maximum size of fire-resistant glass? How big can someone go?
As I told already, the maximum glass production at the moment in our factory is 2.3 by 4.6 meters. So you can imagine how big, how huge is this kind of glass. Of course, it's a bit heavy, but imagine that you can have only one piece of glass without any mullion, any transom in your corridor or in the lobby. It's amazing. We have achieved already a positive fire test for EI 30 classification, EI 60 classification, either in monolithic glass, in IGU glass. We have also our butt jointed system, contra-flam structure, and able to go to 4.5 meter high without any transom in between, and only butted silicone in the vertical side.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. So you can really let a lot of daylight in.
Yeah.
And then we have come to the last question. Someone is asking, how are you accompanying the architects with original glazed application requests? So as we've seen, it's quite difficult with all the classifications and the sizes and the regulations. So how can you help there?
How can I help the architect to achieve and put on their wishes fire-rated glass? If I understand clearly the question.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the thing is, it's case by case, country by country. When you know the fire rating, fire building regulation, and you know what is feasible or not, sometimes it's good to get in touch with the architect together with the national authority to discuss whether this can be done with fire-rated glass or not. And sometimes we find some compromise, and sometimes we need to come with a solution and able to answer to the request from the fire authority and to the architect's wishes. But we will find a solution. Don't worry about this. I've been dealing with a lot of countries already, with a lot of architects. There was always afraid about fire, but don't be afraid of fire. Fire is only a protection against to prevent fire spread all around inside the building. So we will find a solution. There is always a solution.
So basically, if someone has a very complex project, they need to contact the sales areas, and then they will contact you, and hopefully you can work out a solution together, no matter the complexity of the project.
Clear.
Perfect. Then this was the last question, so we conclude the Q&A. Please continue with your presentation.
Thank you, Saskia. So thank you again for attending to this webinar, Architectural Benefits of Fire-Resistant Glass. I invite you to visit our website, vetrotech.com, to learn more about our fire solution and services that we can provide. Thank you.